everyone. Here we are, Therapy 365, episode 4, Worry. When to worry about it or not to worry about it. So today I'm talking about worry, what it is, when does worry serve you, when is worry problematic, where does excessive worry or anxiety come from, and ways to get a handle on your excessive worry. So what is worry? Worry is a state of sort of fear or anxiety over actual or perceived potential problems. The feelings associated with worry can obviously be unpleasant, tension or general unease, preoccupation. Everyone gets worried from time to time. It's part of being human, and it actually does serve a purpose, you might be surprised to hear. So when does worry serve you? So worry gets a bad rap. The reality is, if you worry, it means you care about things, right? Maybe you're worried about doing well on an interview because it's important that you get a job, or you worry about how your child will do on his first day of school. Is he going to make friends? Worry can also motivate you to take action when needed. Your worry might inspire you to make a plan if you hear there's traffic or there's construction in your area, a plan to leave earlier or have an alternate route. Or maybe you hear that there's a weather change and you worry about how it will impact an outdoor event you're attending later in the day. So you pack items to accommodate for that, or like an umbrella, right? So worry can also prompt you to take care of yourself, like getting an annual wellness check or a cancer screening. Generally, your worry can help stave off problems. So I want you to remember that. So there are appropriate and helpful ways that worry can alleviate suffering by preparing you to adapt to situations. But when is worry a problem? Well, worry becomes an issue when it goes past a healthy response to a lot of uncertainty, enough that it dominates your thinking. When it goes from an occasional preoccupation to daily hand-wringing, it's probably taken over your life in a way that doesn't serve you. So there's some signs of worry tipping over into clinical anxiety that you should be aware of. If you're often preoccupied that bad things will happen. If you easily become hyperfixated on things you're worried about, like being late or losing a job or your boyfriend breaking up with you or things like that. Or your worrying impacts those close to you, like your spouse or kids or work partner. They notice that your worry is a problem, or they feel like you're not paying attention. So where does worry come from? So you got to differentiate. Clinical anxiety, right, is one thing, and that can be genetic. Either parent or family member can have that, and that's something you should look for. But a worry in general can have roots in childhood or from other prior experiences. And some examples of that are having an anxious parent and picking up some of their tendencies for fear-based thinking, or growing up in an unstable home where there was a fear of conflict, or there was substance abuse or violence or other reasons for general lack of emotional safety in your family of origin. And these experiences can inform a young developing brain that there are things to be afraid of, and that child can become an adult with vulnerabilities or wounds that they've carried forward. They can be wired for anxiety, scanning the environment for bad things to happen because they did at one time, right? Or wired for worry. Again, like you have to differentiate clinical versus non-clinical. Perhaps you had a traumatic incident at some time that was terrifying, and now there's some hypervigilance remaining in certain areas. And examples of that can be, being physically or sexually assaulted, being in a serious car accident, losing someone close to an illness such as cancer, or a larger societal catastrophic event such as the COVID pandemic or other natural disasters where your sense of overall safety was compromised. If you tend to worry too much, there are some ways you can start to get a handle on it. One, understand the roots of your worry. We already talked about that, but it's important. And if you're unclear about how to do this, a therapist can help. And remember that actually anxiety and worry can serve people in more ways than I described above. It actually can be there as a coping mechanism to protect you against what you feared from before or experiences you've had that were worrisome. And so you develop this kind of hypervigilant way of being. 2, start to notice when worry comes up. The more you notice it, the more chance you will have to develop a different relationship with it. Number 3, give yourself a break. Don't use worry as a reason to beat yourself up. If you get clear on the origins of your worry, you'll be better able to muster some self-compassion, and that will help in that effort to not beat yourself up. Number 4, talk to yourself. Literally talk to yourself. Use self-talk to offer yourself other options or lines of thinking instead of the worst possible scenario or assuming something negative will happen. Like you could ask yourself, self-talk, what are some other possibilities of things that could happen? What is the worst possible thing that can happen? And is it really so bad? Number 5, take a breath. Oxygen is an antidote to the stress hormone cortisol. So if you can manage just a moment to take a deep breath in, all the way to your belly, followed by a long exhale, you'll give your nervous system an opportunity to reset just a little as you consider other lines of thinking that don't feel so worrisome. So in the next episode of Therapy 365, I'm going to do something a little different and address a frequent relationship question I get asked via my consultation service, Ask Lisa on Love and Life Toolbox. The question is, how do you sustain a relationship with a very busy partner? So I'll see you next time. And remember, at Therapy 365, you're always a work in progress.